The goal of this section is to lay a strong foundation by helping the audience understand what fear and anxiety are, how they manifest, and why it's crucial to tackle them head on. Fear and anxiety are two powerful emotional states that influence our behavior, decisions, and overall well-being. Yet, by understanding their nature and learning to manage them, we can transform them from obstacles into sources of personal growth and success. This section will help the audience recognize that they are not alone in their struggles and offer a pathway to overcome them. The difference between fear and anxiety. At first glance, fear and anxiety may seem similar, but they have distinct characteristics. Fear is a natural, immediate emotional response to a real, present threat. It's our body's way of preparing us for action, typically the fight or flight response. For example, if you're walking in the woods and you see a snake, fear kicks in to trigger survival instincts. Fear is helpful because it keeps us safe in dangerous situations. Anxiety, on the other hand, is often more subtle, persistent, and related to anticipated or imagined threats. It's the uneasy feeling you get when you're worried about something that might happen in the future, such as an upcoming presentation, an exam, or even worrying about a social interaction. Unlike fear, anxiety can be chronic and may not be tied to an immediate danger. It can feel overwhelming and out of proportion to the situation, making it harder to cope with and manage effectively. Fear is an acute, immediate response to a real threat. Anxiety is an ongoing state of worry, often about things that haven't happened yet, and it may not be tied to any direct or immediate threat. How fear is a natural response, but anxiety can be debilitating if left unchecked. Fear is an evolutionary tool that has helped humans survive for centuries. When faced with danger, fear activates the body's fight or flight response, releasing adrenaline and other chemicals that prepare us to either confront or flee from the threat. In this sense, fear is protective and essential to survival. However, when fear escalates or is triggered by situations that don't pose any real danger, it can evolve into anxiety. Anxiety, in its chronic form, doesn't have the same clear purpose. Rather than being an isolated, immediate response to a clear threat, anxiety often involves an overactive imagination. It causes us to worry about what might happen, often focusing on worst-case scenarios. If left unchecked, anxiety can become debilitating. It can interfere with our daily lives, causing physical symptoms like racing heartbeats, sweating, trembling, dizziness, and difficulty concentrating. It can prevent us from taking action, from moving forward in our careers, from speaking up in social situations, or even from pursuing our dreams. Anxiety has the power to rob us of joy, peace of mind, and the ability to perform at our best. In this section, it's crucial to stress that anxiety is not something to be ashamed of. It's a common human experience, and the first step in overcoming it is acknowledging it. Fear and anxiety are not signs of weakness, but signals that we need to address our thoughts, our environment, or our emotional state. Briefly introduce the science behind fear and anxiety. To help the audience better understand what happens in the brain and body when they feel fear or anxiety, it's helpful to explain the fight or flight response in simple terms. Fight or flight response. This is the body's natural reaction to danger. When we perceive a threat, our brain, particularly the amygdala, triggers the release of adrenaline, cortisol, and other stress hormones. These hormones prepare the body for rapid action, making the heart beat faster, muscles tighten, and blood flow redirected to areas needed for physical action. This process evolved to keep us alive when faced with immediate threats like a predator. Fear when you're in the presence of a real threat, like an approaching car or a wild animal. Your body's physical responses help you react quickly and decisively. Fear motivates immediate action, fight, or flight. Anxiety is a response to perceived or anticipated stressors. The brain remains on high alert even when there is no immediate danger. Chronic anxiety can result from hyperactivity of the amygdala, leading to overactive stress responses even in everyday situations. While fear is generally short-lived and specific to a real event, anxiety is ongoing and often comes without a clear trigger. This is why it's harder to control. Over time, the brain can become sensitized to these responses, leading to persistent feelings of unease, worry, and dread. The mental health aspects. Fear and anxiety are natural and healthy in moderate amounts, but when they become excessive, they may indicate mental health issues like generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, panic disorders, or phobias. It's important for the audience to understand that anxiety can become a mental health issue that requires attention, just like any physical ailment. By recognizing these symptoms, we can seek help from mental health professionals when needed. The importance of addressing fear and anxiety to reach peak performance and fulfillment. Overcoming fear and anxiety is crucial if you want to unlock your full potential. These emotions hold you back from pursuing your dreams, taking bold action, and achieving peak performance. Fear and anxiety often make us doubt ourselves, question our worth, and avoid opportunities for growth. However, when we learn to manage these emotions effectively, we regain control over our lives and can use the energy they produce for personal growth and success. Peak performance. When we address and manage fear and anxiety, we tap into a state of flow where we can perform at our best. In this state, our minds are focused, clear, and free from self-doubt. Anxiety and fear can cloud this focus, but once they're managed, we unlock the ability to reach new heights in our careers, relationships, and personal lives. Fulfillment. The ultimate goal isn't just to manage fear and anxiety, but to transcend them. By confronting these emotions head-on, we start living a life that is authentic and aligned with our purpose. Imagine a life where you don't constantly worry about the what-ifs. Instead, you act with confidence, pursue your passions, and create a life of fulfillment. The tone of this introduction should be both empathetic and empowering. It's important to acknowledge that fear and anxiety are normal and often inevitable parts of life. But equally, it's important to remind the audience that they don't have to be defined by these emotions. Fear and anxiety can be overcome, and with the right strategies, anyone can reclaim control over their emotional state and thrive. Through understanding the science, embracing awareness, and learning how to manage these emotions, the audience is not just surviving, but becoming empowered to grow and excel. You are not alone in your journey, and there are tools, strategies, and methods that will guide you through the process of overcoming fear and anxiety. The best is yet to come. This section aims to help the audience become more aware of the fear and anxiety that shape their daily lives. By recognizing the physical, emotional, and behavioral signs of these emotions, individuals can start to identify triggers and understand the underlying causes. Awareness is not just about acknowledging that fear and anxiety exist, but about taking that first empowering step toward taking control over them. Once we become aware, we open the door to transformation. This section will focus on cultivating awareness, identifying triggers, and using tools like journaling, meditation, and mindfulness to gain deeper insights into these emotions. Encouraging self-awareness, how fear and anxiety manifest in daily life. The first step in addressing fear and anxiety is becoming aware of how they show up in our lives. These emotions don't always announce themselves loudly. They often manifest subtly throughout our daily routines, affecting our mental, emotional, and physical states. By learning to recognize these signs, we can better manage them. Physical symptoms, fear and anxiety, often trigger the fight or flight response, which can lead to distinct physical sensations. These might include increased heart rate or palpitations. This is your body preparing for action. Shortness of breath, your body is getting ready for either flight or fight, leading to rapid, shallow breathing. Muscle tension, anxiety can make your muscles tighten as you prepare for potential danger. Sweating or trembling, the body's physiological response to stress. Stomach discomfort or nausea, the digestive system slows down or reacts to heightened anxiety. Recognizing these physical symptoms is the first step in understanding when fear or anxiety is at play. Emotional symptoms, fear and anxiety also create emotional turmoil. These may include worrying about the future. You might feel overwhelmed by the fear of what could happen, creating a sense of dread or doom. Irritability or frustration, anxiety can often cause emotional volatility, leading you to feel on edge, angry, or you're easily upset. Feelings of inadequacy, fear often stems from insecurity or self-doubt, leading to feelings of helplessness or worthlessness. Constant comparison anxiety can also trigger negative self-talk and unhealthy comparisons with others, exacerbating the cycle of fear. Behavioral symptoms, fear and anxiety influence how we act. These emotions can lead to avoidance. You may avoid situations or tasks that trigger anxiety. This might look like avoiding public speaking, job interviews, or social gatherings. Overthinking or procrastination, anxiety often leads to overanalyzing situations or delaying action out of fear of failure. Numbing behaviors, people often turn to substances or distractions, e.g. alcohol, social media, excessive work as a way to cope with anxious feelings. By recognizing these physical, emotional, and behavioral patterns, you begin to build awareness of how fear and anxiety show up in your life. Self-awareness is key to recognizing that these feelings are temporary and controllable, not permanent states. Identifying underlying causes of fear. Once we recognize the surface-level manifestations of fear and anxiety, the next step is to explore the underlying causes. Fear and anxiety don't just appear out of nowhere. They often have deeper roots, which may include past experiences. Often our current fears are tied to past traumatic events, failures, or difficult experiences. These could be childhood trauma, negative experiences growing up, like neglect, bullying, or lack of support, can create lasting fear or anxiety in adulthood. Past failures, if you've experienced setbacks in the past, like failing at a job, a relationship, or a personal goal, fear of repeating those failures can create anxiety about future endeavors. Unhealed wounds, emotional pain from the past can linger in the subconscious mind, manifesting as fear or anxiety when similar situations arise. Reflection on past experiences helps uncover why certain situations trigger specific fears or anxieties. By identifying these experiences, you can begin to understand and reframe them. Societal expectations. We live in a world with a constant flow of expectations. Society, culture, family, and social media often place pressure on us to look, behave, and perform in certain ways. Fear and anxiety often arise from fear of judgment or rejection. The pressure to fit in or meet societal standards can trigger anxiety, especially when we feel like we're not measuring up. The pursuit of perfection, high standards set by society or ourselves, can create an overwhelming fear of failure. Anxiety can result from the belief that we must always be perfect or successful. These external pressures can trigger feelings of self-doubt and imposter syndrome. Acknowledging these pressures allows you to challenge the beliefs that hold you back and focus on your own values. Self-doubt and limiting beliefs. A major contributor to anxiety is the internal fear of not being enough. This could be tied to imposter syndrome, the belief that you're not worthy of your accomplishments or that others will eventually find out that you're not as capable as they think. Negative self-talk, constantly doubting your abilities or fearing that you will fail, leads to heightened anxiety and the belief that you are not capable of handling challenges. Perfectionism, the desire to avoid failure at all costs, which stems from the fear of being inadequate or unworthy. These self-imposed limitations fuel anxiety and can paralyze us from taking action. Recognizing and confronting these beliefs is the first step in dismantling them and replacing them with healthier, empowering perspectives. Using journaling, meditation, and mindfulness to track and understand these emotions. To deepen our awareness of fear and anxiety, we can use practical tools like journaling, meditation, and mindfulness to track and understand these emotions. Journaling, writing down your thoughts, is a powerful tool for understanding your emotions. By journaling regularly, you can identify triggers, write about moments when you feel fearful or anxious, and try to identify any patterns or recurring themes. Reframe negative thoughts. Journaling allows you to challenge negative thought patterns and replace them with more empowering beliefs. Track progress. Seeing your growth over time can remind you that overcoming fear and anxiety is a journey. Meditation. Meditation helps create a space of stillness and awareness. By practicing mindfulness meditation, you can observe without judgment. You learn to observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them, which allows you to gain distance from the fear and anxiety. Calm the mind. Meditation reduces the overactivity in the brain that fuels anxiety, promoting relaxation and emotional regulation. Develop self-compassion through meditation. You can learn to treat yourself with kindness, recognizing that fear and anxiety are natural, but they don't define you. Mindfulness. Being mindful means being fully present in the moment without judgment. This practice allows you to pause before reacting. Mindfulness helps you slow down before you act out of fear or anxiety, giving you space to make more thoughtful choices. Create emotional awareness. Mindfulness helps you become aware of your emotional state in real time, allowing you to address fear and anxiety before they escalate. Accept emotions instead of resisting fear or anxiety. Mindfulness teaches you to acknowledge them as they are, reducing their power over you. By consistently using these tools, you develop self-awareness, giving you the clarity needed to identify and address fear and anxiety at their core. Realizing that awareness is the first step toward taking control of your mind and emotions. The ultimate goal of this section is to empower the audience with the understanding that awareness is the first step toward freedom. Fear and anxiety can feel overwhelming, but when you are aware of their triggers and causes, you take back control. Awareness shifts the balance of power. It allows you to respond rather than react. When you acknowledge and confront your fear and anxiety, you are no longer controlled by them. You begin to break free from their grip and step into your power. The key message here is simple. You are the one in control of your emotions, not the other way around. Taking the first step, awareness, is not just about recognizing fear and anxiety. It's about empowering yourself to address them one emotion at a time. With awareness comes the ability to make deliberate choices that move you toward growth, peace, and fulfillment. This section is designed to help the audience understand that fear and anxiety, rather than being barriers, can be powerful signals for growth. By reframing their perspective on fear, individuals can turn what seems like an obstacle into an opportunity for personal and professional development. This section will highlight how fear can be harnessed as a force for success. empowering individuals to step out of their comfort zones and achieve breakthroughs. Through techniques like cognitive reframing, visualization, and changing their language, the audience will learn to transform fear into a motivating force. How fear can be a signal for growth, not a roadblock. Fear is often perceived as something negative, a barrier that stops us from taking risks, chasing our dreams, or pursuing new opportunities. However, fear is not inherently bad. In fact, it's a natural signal from our body that we're standing at the edge of something new and unknown. Rather than seeing fear as a roadblock, we can shift our perspective and begin to view it as a signal for growth. When you feel fear, it's often a sign that you're about to experience something transformative. Whether it's a challenging work project, a difficult conversation, or an important decision, fear tends to appear at the threshold of change. Fear as a growth catalyst. Fear is a normal response when you're about to push yourself outside your comfort zone. It shows you that you're about to stretch your boundaries, whether physically, emotionally, or mentally. Every time you face fear and choose to move forward despite it, you grow stronger. Fear is a sign that you're in the process of expanding, and once you push through it, you often experience a breakthrough. The comfort zone trap. Living in your comfort zone may feel safe, but it's also where growth stagnates. Fear, however, encourages you to step outside of that zone, and it's in that space where true transformation occurs. The discomfort of fear is a powerful motivator that drives you to take action and rise above your limitations. Tony Robbins' concept of personal growth through discomfort. Tony Robbins often talks about the idea of personal growth through discomfort. According to Robbins, growth happens when you step outside your comfort zone and challenge yourself to confront your fears and insecurities. Growth happens in the struggle. Robbins teaches that the greatest breakthroughs occur not in ease, but in moments of discomfort and challenge. When you face fear, it's often an opportunity for personal transformation. It's in the struggle that we develop the strength, skills, and mindset needed to achieve our goals. The struggle is what builds resilience and determination. Fear doesn't stop you, it forces you to adapt, overcome, and grow. Discomfort is a sign of progress. If you're not feeling some level of discomfort, you might be too comfortable and personal growth is being stunted. Discomfort is a sign that you're progressing, not regressing. Robbins often says the only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. By reframing discomfort and fear as a necessary part of progress, we allow ourselves to see them as fuel rather than hindrances. Reframing negative thoughts from avoidance to opportunity. The key to turning fear into fuel for growth lies in how we think about it. Reframing is the process of changing the way we interpret and react to fear. Instead of seeing fear as something to avoid, we can learn to see it as a signpost pointing toward personal growth. Reframing negative thoughts is not about ignoring fear, it's about rethinking its role in our lives. Changing the narrative. Negative thoughts like I'm scared or I can't do this can become self-fulfilling prophecies. The more you focus on fear, the more you allow it to control you. Instead, we can reframe these thoughts. From I'm scared to I'm excited for this challenge. From I can't do this to I'm going to figure it out. From this is too difficult to this is an opportunity to grow stronger. By reframing, you shift your energy from fear to empowerment. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of fear and start seeing fear as the fuel that propels you toward your best self. Reframing fear as excitement. Physiologically, fear and excitement are very similar responses from the body. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and your energy spikes. The only difference is in how you interpret the experience. Instead of thinking I'm afraid, try reframing the thought to I'm excited or I'm energized. This simple change in language can shift your mental state and turn nervous energy into focused action. Practical techniques, cognitive reframing, visualization, and changing language. There are several powerful techniques that can help you reframe fear and transform it into fuel for growth. These strategies will help you take control of your thoughts and turn fear into a motivating force. Cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing is a technique used in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, to challenge and change unhelpful thoughts. The process involves identifying negative or fear-based thoughts and consciously replacing them with more empowering, positive alternatives. For example, if you're feeling anxious about a presentation, instead of thinking I'll mess up, you could reframe it as I'm prepared and I'm going to give it my best shot. Reframing also involves asking yourself empowering questions like what can I learn from this situation or how can this fear help me grow? Visualization. Visualization is a powerful tool that can help you see yourself succeeding despite the fear. By visualizing success and imagining yourself overcoming the fear, you mentally prepare for the challenge ahead. Visualize the outcome you want, but also visualize the process. See yourself taking the steps necessary to overcome the fear and experience the confidence and courage you gain along the way. Changing language. Language has a profound impact on how we experience fear. By changing the language we use, we can alter how we feel about fear and anxiety. Instead of saying I'm nervous, say I'm energized. Instead of saying I can't do this, say I'm learning how to do this. Language affects your mindset. By changing your words, you shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset where challenges are opportunities, not threats. Empowering and motivational, with examples of successful people who turned fear into a driving force. To truly resonate with the audience, this section should focus on real-world examples of individuals who turned fear into fuel for growth. These stories should serve as proof that fear is not an enemy, but a catalyst for success. Steve Jobs was known for his ability to push past fear and take risks. Despite facing tremendous challenges, including being ousted from Apple, the company he founded, Jobs used his fear of failure to fuel his next venture, Pixar, which ultimately led to his triumphant return to Apple and the company's meteoric rise. Takeaway: Jobs turned fear into determination and used it to propel himself and his company to extraordinary success. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah's rise from a troubled childhood to becoming one of the most influential women in media is a story of overcoming immense fears and challenges. She faced societal expectations, personal trauma, and countless rejections, yet she reframed each obstacle as a learning experience and stepping stone. Takeaway: Oprah reframed her fear of failure and rejection as an opportunity for growth and used it to fuel her journey toward becoming a media mogul. Elon Musk, known for his ventures with Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink. Musk is no stranger to fear and failure. Despite facing numerous setbacks, he consistently reframed his fears as learning opportunities and used the fear of failure to drive his innovations forward. Takeaway: Musk's willingness to face his fears head-on and take massive risks has led to game-changing innovations in multiple industries. In conclusion, fear is not something to avoid, it's something to embrace. When you reframe fear as an opportunity for growth, it transforms from a paralyzing force into fuel for your success. By using tools like cognitive reframing, visualization, and changing your language, you can transform your mindset and take control of your emotions. Remember, the greatest breakthroughs often come from the greatest challenges, and fear is a key ingredient in making those breakthroughs happen. This section is focused on action specifically, how taking immediate and bold action is the key to overcoming the paralysis of fear and anxiety. While it's easy to get stuck in the cycle of avoidance and inaction, the most effective way to conquer fear is by breaking through that paralysis and taking that first courageous step. We'll explore the paradox of fear, why small actions are crucial for building momentum, and how the act of moving forward, regardless of how small the steps, helps you reclaim control over fear. We will also share real-life examples of individuals who overcame their fears by taking massive action, including Tony Robbins' own personal story. The paradox of fear: the more you avoid it, the more it controls you. Fear has a funny way of keeping us trapped. The more we avoid something we fear, the stronger the fear becomes. This creates a vicious cycle. Our desire to avoid the discomfort of fear actually magnifies it. We procrastinate, delay, and make excuses, all while the fear continues to grow in our minds and imaginations. Fear as a self-fulfilling prophecy. Avoidance makes fear grow because we're not confronting it. Every time we avoid something that scares us, whether it's public speaking, an important conversation, or taking a risk in our personal or professional life, we reinforce the belief that the thing we fear is too dangerous or overwhelming to face. The more we delay, the more anxious we become. Fear feeds off our inaction. The paradox is that avoiding the fear doesn't protect us from it, it amplifies it. The act of not taking action keeps us stuck in a place where fear has more power over us than it should. It holds us in a state of paralysis, preventing us from living the life we truly want. Confrontation breeds freedom. The best way to break this cycle is to confront fear head-on. Just like a shadow disappears when you turn on the light, fear fades when you face it with courage and action. By taking action, no matter how small, we shrink the size of the fear. Small victories accumulate, and over time, the fear no longer has the hold over us that it once did. The importance of small, deliberate actions in overcoming fear: success breeds success. One of the most common misconceptions about fear is that it can only be overcome with a big, dramatic gesture. While that can certainly work for some, the most sustainable and effective way to break free from fear is through small, deliberate actions. Success breeds success. One of the key principles in overcoming fear is the idea of momentum. When you take that first step, no matter how small, you build confidence. That first step may seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but it has a snowball effect. Each small action leads to another, and over time, these steps compound into real progress. Think of fear as a boulder at the top of a hill. At first, it feels heavy and impossible to move, but with a little push, it starts rolling. The more you push, the more momentum it gains. Success doesn't always mean completing the big task right away. It's about taking consistent, deliberate actions that move you toward your goal, even if those actions seem small. Every time you take action, you reinforce your belief that you can do this, and success becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Breaking tasks into manageable chunks. One of the best ways to overcome fear is to break your larger goals into smaller and more manageable tasks. If you're afraid of giving a public speech, start by speaking in front of a mirror, then in front of a friend or family member, and eventually in front of a small group. Micro goals lead to bigger achievements. By tackling fears in smaller, bite-sized pieces, you build the confidence to handle bigger challenges over time. How to break the cycle of procrastination caused by fear and anxiety. Procrastination is often a direct result of fear and anxiety. When we feel overwhelmed by the size of a task or the fear of failure, we put things off, telling ourselves we'll do it later. However, this only deepens the cycle of fear and anxiety. The link between procrastination and fear. Procrastination often happens when we're scared of failing or facing an uncomfortable situation. We delay taking action because we fear the consequences of failure, judgment, or rejection. However, the more we put something off, the more anxious and overwhelmed we feel. Instead of allowing procrastination to take over, it's important to recognize that action is the antidote to fear. Procrastination only prolongs the discomfort. Taking immediate action, no matter how small, interrupts the cycle of avoidance and helps you move forward. The power of just start. A powerful technique to break procrastination is to just start. Often, the hardest part is getting started. Once you begin, even with the smallest action, the anxiety begins to diminish. Tony Robbins often says the key to breaking procrastination is not to think about how difficult it is, but to start with one small step. Once you get the ball rolling, you'll find that momentum builds and the fear becomes more manageable. Building momentum while taking action, even small steps, creates confidence and breaks the hold fear has on you. The principle of momentum is crucial in overcoming fear. Taking action creates a ripple effect that not only helps you overcome the initial fear, but builds confidence and strength for future challenges. Momentum is a powerful force. Just like a snowball gains speed as it rolls down a hill, your momentum grows as you take consistent action. Initially, fear may feel like an immovable object, but once you take action, even in tiny doses, you begin to chip away at it. Confidence is built with each small step forward. It's not about waiting until you're fearless to take action, but rather it's the act of moving forward despite fear that builds the confidence you need. Courage is created by action. The more you take action, the more courage you build. Courage doesn't come from being fearless, it comes from facing fear and choosing to act anyway. Over time, this creates a shift in your self-perception. What once felt terrifying becomes routine, and the power of fear diminishes. Examples of people who took massive action despite their fears, including Tony Robbins' own personal story. Sometimes it's helpful to see real-life examples of people who have overcome fear and anxiety by taking massive action. These stories serve as inspiration and prove that action, no matter how difficult or intimidating it might seem, is the key to overcoming fear. Tony Robbins' personal story. Tony Robbins is a perfect example of someone who took massive action to break through his own fears. Growing up in a challenging environment, Robbins experienced fear and anxiety about his own potential and future. However, rather than letting these fears paralyze him, he took immediate action to learn about personal development and began using the tools he was discovering to create change in his life. One of Robbins' early breakthroughs came when he pushed past his fear of public speaking. Instead of avoiding the stage, he took action and began speaking in front of small audiences. This led to his now legendary career as a motivational speaker and personal development expert. Takeaway: Robbins teaches us that action is the antidote to fear. By stepping into his discomfort and taking bold, courageous steps despite his fear, he transformed his life. Other examples of massive action. Walt Disney faced numerous rejections and financial setbacks when starting Disney, yet he didn't allow fear of failure to stop him. He took bold action and created a legacy that revolutionized entertainment. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, faced rejection after rejection, but she continued to take action by submitting her manuscript. Despite the fear and anxiety of failure, her persistence paid off, leading her to become one of the most successful authors in the world. strong, determined, and empowering. The tone of this section is one of strength and determination, designed to push the audience to take action and face their fears. The message should be empowering, showing that fear doesn't have to be a roadblock. Instead, by taking action, no matter how small, you can break through the paralysis of fear and begin building momentum toward achieving your goals. The key takeaway is that action is the antidote to fear, and even the smallest step forward can set the stage for greater success. This final section shifts the focus to long-term strategies for mastering fear and anxiety. It emphasizes that overcoming fear isn't a one-time event, but a continuous journey. It's about developing inner strength, building emotional resilience, and conditioning your mind to stay calm, confident, and focused in the face of fear and uncertainty. By integrating key practices and maintaining a growth mindset, you can ensure that fear never holds you back from reaching your full potential. Through consistency, mindset conditioning, and embracing setbacks as opportunities, you can master your fears and ultimately create lasting growth and transformation in your life. This section will inspire and equip the audience to take control of their future, stay resilient, and continually evolve. How overcoming fear and anxiety is an ongoing journey, not a one-time fix. Fear is not something you fix once and for all. It is an emotion like joy or sadness that will ebb and flow throughout your life. The key is not to eliminate fear completely, but to develop the tools and mindset to handle it when it arises. Overcoming fear is an ongoing journey of growth, where every challenge and fear you face becomes an opportunity for further strengthening your emotional resilience. The process of mastery. Think of fear as something you can continually learn from. Each time you face a fear and succeed in taking action, you grow stronger. This strength builds over time as you build muscle memory in your mind. The key message here is that mastery is not about perfection, it's about consistency. Overcoming fear and anxiety is like building a muscle. The more you practice facing your fears, the stronger you become. Each experience of facing fear and anxiety cements your belief in your ability to overcome whatever comes next. It's about developing a new relationship with fear, viewing it not as a threat, but as a companion that shows you where growth is possible. Embrace the ongoing nature of the journey. As Tony Robbins often says, the path to mastery is long, but the journey is the reward. Expect fear and anxiety to surface again at different points in your life. This is normal. The goal is to be prepared and have the tools to deal with these emotions whenever they arise. Each phase of your life will present new challenges and fears, but each challenge will also provide a chance to build upon the skills you've already developed. The importance of building resilience and emotional intelligence. Emotional resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, adapt to change, and keep going despite fear or failure. It's not something you're born with, it's a skill you build over time. Emotional intelligence, EQ, involves understanding, managing, and leveraging your emotions in ways that lead to greater success and happiness. Fear and anxiety are emotions we can learn to control through the development of resilience and emotional intelligence. Resilience is built through repeated exposure to fear. The more you confront fear, the better you get at handling it. Each experience of fear becomes easier as you become more emotionally resilient. Think of fear as an emotional challenge. The more you face these challenges, the stronger your emotional muscles get. Fear may never fully disappear, but it loses its power over you because you've conditioned yourself to handle it. As you build resilience, you'll learn to bounce back faster after setbacks. Fear no longer paralyzes you. Instead, it fuels your drive to keep moving forward. Emotional intelligence, EQ. EQ is the ability to regulate your emotions instead of letting them control you. As you strengthen your EQ, you'll be able to understand the root cause of your fears, process them healthily, and shift your emotional state when necessary. Through emotional intelligence, you can choose your response to fear and anxiety rather than letting them dictate your actions. For example, instead of freezing up in the face of a challenge, you'll be able to remain calm, think clearly, and take appropriate action. Tony Robbins' concept of conditioning your mind. One of Tony Robbins' core teachings is the concept of conditioning your mind. He believes that the key to mastering fear, anxiety, and any emotional challenge lies in training your mind through daily practices. These practices help you stay emotionally and mentally strong, even in the face of adversity. Daily practices for mindset conditioning. Meditation. By quieting the mind through regular meditation, you can increase your emotional awareness and calm the inner turmoil that fear creates. Meditation helps you observe your thoughts, which allows you to detach from them and view them objectively. Gratitude. Practicing gratitude daily helps you shift your focus away from fear and anxiety. By intentionally choosing to focus on what's going well in your life, you strengthen the neural pathways that reinforce positive emotions. Affirmations using positive self-talk and affirmations helps rewire your brain to focus on solutions instead of problems. Saying affirmations such as "I am courageous, I am capable, and I can handle this" trains your mind to stay positive in difficult situations. Visualization. Tony Robbins encourages people to visualize their success regularly. This practice allows you to mentally rehearse overcoming fear and handling challenges with ease. When fear arises in real life, your mind already has a positive blueprint for how to respond. Conditioning your mind is a long-term commitment. Just like any muscle, your mind needs consistent conditioning. It's not enough to meditate or practice gratitude once in a while. The key to lasting change is to make these practices a daily habit. The more you practice them, the easier it becomes to stay calm, confident, and focused when fear arises. Turning setbacks into lessons, using every failure as an opportunity for growth. Fear is often rooted in the fear of failure. The key to mastering fear is to see failure not as a defeat, but as a lesson. The most successful people in the world are often the ones who have experienced the most setbacks. But instead of letting failure define them, they use it as fuel for growth. Embrace failure as a stepping stone. Failure is not the end, it's the beginning of growth. Each time you fail, you have the opportunity to learn something valuable. The lesson may be about what you can improve, or it may be about how to approach a situation differently next time. Tony Robbins often says it's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get back up. Success isn't defined by never failing, it's about failing forward. Every failure can become a powerful lesson if you choose to see it as such. Resilience through setbacks. Every setback is an opportunity to build greater resilience. The key is to maintain a growth mindset, believing that every challenge is an opportunity for improvement. When you see setbacks as part of the journey, they lose their power to discourage you. How to maintain a growth mindset and keep moving forward despite setbacks. A growth mindset is the belief that you can grow, change, and improve through effort and learning. This mindset is essential to mastering fear because it allows you to view challenges as opportunities rather than insurmountable obstacles. Viewing challenges as opportunities. With a growth mindset, setbacks are not failures, they are signposts on the path to success. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity to learn, grow, and become stronger. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this? How can this challenge help me grow?" Persistence and consistency. Mastery is a long-term journey, and success is the result of consistent effort. When you fall, get back up and keep moving forward. By developing the habit of perseverance, you increase your ability to bounce back faster and keep going no matter what. Uplifting and visionary. The tone in this section should be inspiring and visionary. The goal is to leave the audience with a sense of empowerment and a clear understanding that fear is not something to conquer once it's something you can master for life. By developing resilience, conditioning your mind, embracing setbacks, and maintaining a growth mindset, you can reclaim control over fear and anxiety, ensuring that they never stop you from reaching your goals. The message is about long-term empowerment and that anyone can take control of their future if they are willing to continue growing and learning. The conclusion aims to summarize the core message of the article, reaffirming that you have the power to choose how you respond to fear and that you can take control of your life by facing your fears head-on. It should provide a final push of inspiration, urging the audience to take immediate action and to continue on their journey of personal growth with compassion for themselves. The goal is to leave the audience feeling empowered, motivated, and ready to implement the strategies shared in the article in their own lives. This final section should also encourage them to view the process of overcoming fear as a long-term commitment, one that requires patience, resilience, and self-compassion. Reaffirm the power of choice and control over fear. At the heart of everything discussed in this article is the powerful truth that fear does not control you, you control how you respond to it. While fear is a natural and often unavoidable part of life, it is not something that has to limit your potential. You have the ability to choose how you interact with your fears and whether you allow them to dictate your actions. The power of choice. Fear will always be present in some form, but you can decide whether you allow it to control you or use it as a tool for growth. When fear arises, ask yourself, what if this fear is showing me where growth is possible? With the right mindset, fear becomes not a barrier, but a stepping stone towards success. You are not a prisoner to your fears. You have the ability to face them and move through them with confidence. Taking control of your emotional landscape. Overcoming fear is not about eliminating it, it's about taking control over your emotional responses. The more you practice self-awareness, reframing, and deliberate action, the more you begin to see fear as a temporary challenge rather than a permanent obstacle. By embracing these practices, you develop a deep understanding that you can control your mind and emotions, empowering yourself to step confidently into the life you deserve. Offer a motivational closing statement to inspire immediate action. You've already taken the first step by reading this article and committing to transforming your relationship with fear. Now, it's time to take action. Don't wait for the perfect moment or until fear has completely subsided. The time for action is now. Fear thrives in indecision. The longer you hesitate, the stronger its grip becomes. But with each bold action, no matter how small, you break free from its hold. Start now, even if it feels uncomfortable. Remember, success breeds success. Taking small, consistent actions creates momentum and boosts your confidence. Every time you face fear, you become a little bit more powerful, a little bit more resilient. Just believe in your power to change. You are capable of more than you think. Every step you take is another step toward the life you desire. Fear doesn't need to stop you. With each action, you build the future you want, a future in which fear is no longer a barrier, but a catalyst for your growth. Encourage ongoing personal development and self-compassion. Mastering fear is a continuous journey, not a destination. As you face your fears and grow stronger, remember that personal development is an ongoing process. Be compassionate with yourself along the way. Growth takes time, and setbacks are part of the process. Commit to consistent growth. Growth is not linear. Some days will be harder than others, but that doesn't mean you're not making progress. Keep showing up for yourself, keep taking small steps, and trust that every action is contributing to your development. Be patient with yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, you will see the transformation you desire. You are building a stronger version of yourself, and that is worth the effort. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when fear arises. Understand that it's okay to feel anxious, but don't let it define you. You are more than your fear. Practice self-compassion by acknowledging your feelings without judgment and using them as opportunities to grow. Tony Robbins teaches that one of the greatest acts of strength is the ability to be gentle with yourself during moments of struggle. Accept that fear is a natural part of being human, and show yourself the same compassion and patience you would offer a loved one facing similar challenges. A lifelong journey of growth. Embrace the idea that personal growth is a lifelong pursuit. With every challenge you face, you become better equipped to handle the next one. The skills you develop while overcoming fear will not only make you stronger today, they will serve you for the rest of your life. By committing to this journey, you will become more resilient, more confident, and more capable of achieving true fulfillment in every aspect of your life. It's time to take action to embrace fear as the powerful ally it can be, and to transform your life. Start small, start now, but above all, start. Your future is waiting for you, and it is shaped by the choices you make today. Choose courage, choose growth, and choose to live without fear holding you back. This is your journey. Own it, make it count. You've got this.